Honor affirms value. That is a core value that we hold deeply here at Bethel. No matter where you are, no matter what you've gone through, no matter how you feel about yourself, you are valuable. God values you. We know that clearly from a couple of different places in Scripture. First of all, in Genesis 1, as God is creating the entire world, He creates everything, and each day He calls it good. But then we come to the day that He makes humanity. He waits until the end, creates humanity as the pinnacle of creation, the high point. You as an individual, humanity as a race, we are created at the pinnacle of the creative process. We are God's master work. And as we are created in His image, we are filled with His Spirit. We are crafted by His hands, as we see in Genesis 1 and 2, to be God's crowning achievement. And of all of creation, it's only after we are made that God says it's very good. And so you can know that God calls humanity very good. And He has made humanity in His image. Right? We see that as in Genesis 1, as God's talking about the creation of humanity, He says, let us make humanity in our image. And so we as humans are fashioned in the image of God. That means that no matter what else, no matter where we find ourselves, no matter how strong, how intelligent, how weak, how rich, how poor, none of it matters, because humans are unique and uniquely crafted in the image of God. And so we honor that no matter what. This is one thing there's a long tradition in Christianity of caring for the least of these, because Jesus said, as you've done it to the least of these, you've done it to me. And He's calling us to remember that we are made in God's image, and that every human being, whether it's the homeless person begging along the side of the road, or the person who is mentally or physically disabled, those people, whether it's the individual in the womb who can't defend themselves yet, those humans have value because they are made in God's image. There's a rich tradition and history of hospitality and caring for the poor and the widow and the orphan throughout the 2,000 years of church history. And it comes down to this value for the image of God in everyone, including our enemies. People don't have to behave in a way that makes us happy, in a way that makes us feel valuable, or a way that makes us feel special for them to have value. And it's out of this that we can truly love our enemies, not because of what they're doing, not because of anything that they specifically carry as an individual, but we can even go back all the way to Genesis and say, man, these people have value because no matter what, no matter how I feel about what they're doing, no matter how terrible their actions are, I know that they are made in the image of God. And secondly, we can affirm the honor of who they are because God can redeem them. Jesus paid the price for us to be saved at our lowest moments. Even while we were sinners, even while we were enemies with God, Christ died for us. That hope of redemption pulls us forward so we can know that we can be redeemed. We can be set free and made whole. And we hold out that hope for everyone. So we affirm their value beyond their actions because Christ died for them. And I've often heard it said that God doesn't make junk. Well, Jesus didn't redeem junk either. Jesus paid the price of His life so that people could be made whole, could experience freedom, experience life, know wholeness. And it's only and only on the other side of what Jesus has done that we can embrace that and that we can walk into that. We all are sinners. We've all fallen short of God's standard. And it's the redemption of Jesus that allows us to walk in knowing that God has made us whole, that we have a future and a hope because of the price that Jesus has paid. We all need forgiveness. We all need redemption. And it doesn't matter the standards and the scales that we want to set up. Ultimately, God's standard is so much higher. And Jesus paid the price for us to be raised to that standard. And so what we can do as followers of Jesus, we can affirm the value and the honor of other individuals as made in the image of God and as someone for whom Jesus paid the price for them to be redeemed and potentially, if they acknowledge that, be adopted in to the family of God. And so as we move forward, as you and your group are talking about that, I want you to talk about, really the foundation that we use for honor. What do you think of as you hear these passages of Scripture, as you think about somebody being made in God's image and honoring the least of these because Jesus has called us to do that? And how does that look when people aren't behaving the way that we think they should? How can we still honor who God's made them to be and the potential that they can be redeemed? So as you're discussing in your group, take some time, think back, discuss these things, and as you move forward, I want to encourage you to have some discussion about what it looks like to honor one another in community, even when you disagree.